What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, we're going to talk about 10 things women don't care about as much as us guys might think they do. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap that notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like John Starling, salute. Now, when it comes to discussions about women and what they like and don't like, I find that people talk too much in absolutes, too black or too white, when life is really lived more in the gray areas. And that's what we're going to talk about today. On today's video, I'm going to talk about some misconceptions that you might have that you think might be keeping you from getting to that special young lady because you think she cares way more about something than she actually does. Now, you'll notice when I'm talking about these 10 different categories, I'm not going to BS you and tell you women don't care at all. But like I said, we're going to talk about the gray area. And along the way, I may give you a little tough love, so be prepared. So without any further delay, let's get into 10 things women don't care about as much as you might think. Now, of course, I had to start this video off with this one. The thing women don't care about as much as you may think is how much money you have. Now, I can't tell you how many times in the comment section when I do a dating topic, the first response I get, all you really need is to be rich. You'll get all the women. Sorry, that's not true. And here's the first scoop of tough love. I find a lot of guys who think that way are the ones that had difficulty getting women. So they need a boogeyman or an excuse. If only if I had money, I'd get a lot more women. That's not the case. However, let's talk about the gray areas. I didn't say women don't want you to have any money. They want you to have a job. They want you to be productive. They want you to have the ability to be a provider. That doesn't take millions of bucks. Are you going to have a harder time getting a lady if you don't have a job? Of course. But if you don't have a job, you probably should be dating anyway. However, have a job, be productive, earn money, and use it in a smart way. That's good enough for the type of woman you should want to date. Now, the second thing we're going to talk about piggybacks off the first. Another excuse I get from a lot of guys, I would get more women if I had a fancy car. It's only the guys with the Ferraris and the Porsches and the Maseratis that have the ladies. Not true. But let's do a quick little exercise. Let's assume that the guys that have these fancy cars, this is what ladies are looking for. Let's say these are the 1% guys. Now let's give all these 1% guys 5 women. That means they took up 5% of all of the ladies. Now tell me, what's your excuse for not being able to attract the other 95%? Putting all that aside, most women do want you to have reliable transportation that's clean. They do want you to be able to pick them up and take them out on a date. But you don't have to have a $300,000 car. A clean, reliable car, yes. The fanciest car, not necessary. Next up on our list of things women don't care about, they really don't care as much about your height as you think they do. And one of the things I found, I think guys think the average guy is taller than they really are. The average guy in America is only about 5'9", 5'9 and a half. Right around my height, lucky for me. Problem comes in, even if you are shorter, is when you wear your height or lack thereof on your sleeve. A lot of times this translates into outward lack of confidence or insecurity. That is a turnoff. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you that women don't like guys that are taller than them. That's true. However, you don't have to be 6'5". The average American woman is only 5'3" or 5'4". Real talk, most of the time they're looking for a guy that's a couple of inches taller than them. Is being extremely short going to lessen your dating pool? A little bit, but not as much as you think it is. They don't need you to be 6'7" like you think you do. And for the 5 or 6 ladies that watch this channel, do me a favor, let the fellas know in the comment section. I know what I'm talking about. Next up on the list, ladies definitely don't care if you don't have an Adonis physique. If you're the guy in the gym 3 or 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, you're probably pretty vain. That's going to be a turnoff. And on top of that, if you're in this extreme great shape, she's probably going to feel pressured to be in great shape herself. A lot of ladies are going to find this intimidating and off-putting. If you're someone who's super shredded, you're always checking for your own flaws. You don't think she thinks you're going to be looking at hers? However, don't get me wrong, she doesn't want you to be a fat slob either. Be in decent shape, have some muscle tone. But you don't need to have 4% body fat to attract a woman. In fact, if you do, she's probably gonna be less interested. Next up on the list, she doesn't care if you don't have movie star good looks. In fact, lucky for you, women aren't quite as superficial as we are when it comes to looks. No, they don't want you to look like Shrek, but you don't have to be a former model either. But on the flip side, she does want you to make the best of what you have. Be well groomed, dress well. Whether you're a casual guy or a dapper guy, have clothes that fit. Have clean, modern shoes. All these things she's gonna find attractive. She doesn't care as much as you think she does whether you're the most handsome guy on the planet. Another thing women definitely don't care about as much as we think they do, your hair. Whether we're talking about how much hair you have, whether you have a little gray, main thing she cares about, piggyback on the last point, is that the hair that you do have is well groomed and maintained. They're not caught up quite as much as you may think, whether you're follically challenged. And if you do have a little less hair, don't wear hats all the time. That's drawing attention to your insecurity. If you have those grays or less hair, keep your hair well groomed and neat. She'll find that much more important than how much or what color your hair is. Next up, I guarantee you, women do not care if you're not the ideal of an alpha male that people talk about, especially guys on YouTube. You'll find a lot of YouTube pundits telling you need to be this extra alpha guy. Cold, unfeeling, super aggressive. Between me and you, most of those guys don't get women. That's just real talk. Now, I'm not telling you need to be some soft guy. Quite to the contrary. But as men, we do have emotions. We're not some robots. It's okay to show that emotion from time to time. But notice I said from time to time. Nobody wants a crybaby in a man. But you don't have to be this rigid, stiff, unfeeling person. That's not realistic, and she doesn't expect that. In fact, showing some vulnerability actually is more attractive. If you're determined to be some super alpha guy, you'll much more likely impress YouTube pundits than you will the young ladies. Piggybacking off that last tip, a lot of guys tend to think that women need for you to be some bad boy or some thug. A lot of you guys seem to think that's the guy that women are going for. Again, I'm gonna hit you with some real talk. I think that's another excuse that a lot of guys that might not be as successful with women as they want to be use for a reason why they don't have a woman. I'm a nice guy, why don't the ladies like me? What women do find attractive a lot of times in these bad boys is their confidence, their masculinity, a take charge attitude. And a lot of my so-called nice guys out there are just that. You're a little too nice. You can be kind, you can be polite, you can be a gentleman. That doesn't mean you need to be a pushover. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, life is lived in the gray areas. No, she doesn't want you to be completely soft, doesn't want you to be an obnoxious, no good guy either. A well-rounded guy is what she wants. Not the bad boy, but not the extra nice guy either. I also need to tell you, women really don't care as much as you think they do about your titles or your accomplishments. She most likely doesn't care what school you went to, how many degrees you have, how quickly you made vice president. Good for you. But what she does want to know, like I mentioned earlier, is that you're productive, that you're goal-oriented. And quiet as kept, subtlety in life always works much better. If you have titles, if you have accomplishments, organically she'll be able to see this. If you've been able to do a lot in your life, it'll be kind of obvious. You won't have to say it. Want to turn a lady off real quick? Be a braggart, be arrogant. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be confident, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't be proud of your accomplishments. Just don't talk about them all the time. And last but certainly not least on my list of the 10 things women don't care about quite as much as you think they do, she isn't looking for you to be perfect. Now I get it, it can be very challenging figuring out what you need to do or how you need to be to get that special young lady. But newsflash, you're never going to be perfect, nor does anyone expect you to be. If you go about trying to be perfect or creating this perfect image of what you think people like, you're not going to be able to keep it up anyway. Yes, she wants you to be productive. Yes, she wants you to be in decent shape, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be masculine. But nowhere in there did you hear me say she needs you to be perfect. Just be the best representation of you. Believe it or not, women have just as many or more insecurities than we do. So naturally, she doesn't expect you to be perfect when she knows she isn't. Be the best you can be, and you're gonna get the best lady for you. Okay, so there you have it. 10 things that women don't care about quite as much as you might think they do. Once again, ladies that watch this channel, back me up in the comment section. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hit that like button. It helps the channel to grow. And of course, tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos we release every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'll check you out the next time.